Have you ever stopped and wondered if you're asking for something the right way? Well, today we are diving into the art of making a polite request. And believe it or not, it really just comes down to a few small but super powerful words. Okay, just look at these two sentences. Can I take Friday off? Versus could I take Friday off? I mean, they're asking for the exact same thing, right? But do they feel the same? That one little word makes a world of difference. So, does it really matter? The short answer is, oh, absolutely. Getting this right is the difference between sounding kind of demanding and being really persuasive and polite. And in this explainer, we're going to break down these super simple rules so you can ask for pretty much anything with total confidence. So, these little words we're talking about can, could, may, would, they have a name. They're called modal verbs. And honestly, choosing the right one is like picking the right tool for a job. It sets the whole tone of your conversation, taking it from maybe a little rude to perfectly polite. The great news is, this is not nearly as complicated as it might seem. Our source material shows us that we can basically simplify every request out there by breaking them down into just two main types. And it all just depends on who the subject of the sentence is, you or the person you're talking to. And here's that breakdown, which I think makes it so much clearer. On one side, you're asking for permission. That's when the subject is I. Think of it as, am I allowed to do this? And on the other side, you're asking for action. That's when the subject is you. So, will you do this for me? Let's dig into each of these. All right, let's start with that first category, asking for permission. This is for any time you want to do something, but you need to get the okay from somebody else. So, the subject is always going to be I. Now, to make this really easy to remember, let's just imagine we've got a formality meter. You know, some words are for those really formal situations, like a big job interview, and others are just perfect for when you're kicking back with friends. So here's how our meter stacks up. May I? That's at the very top. It's the most formal, most grammatically correct way to ask for permission. Then you've got could I. This is your safest bet. It's polite, it's all-purpose, and it works in pretty much any situation. And then there's can I, which is the most casual of the three, so it's best to use that with people you know really well. And this isn't just a random opinion. It's grounded in established grammar. Our source material maps this out very clearly, showing that even though these differences feel subtle, they've been a standard part of English for a long, long time. Okay, so let's flip this around. What happens when you're not asking for permission for yourself, but you're asking someone else to do something for you? Now, the subject is you. When you're asking for action, your options change just a little bit. Would you and could you are your go-to choices. They're super common and are considered equally polite, so you can't go wrong with either. Will you also works, it's polite. And just like before, can you is the most informal one on the list, so save that for your friends and family. Now here's where things get interesting. The source material points out a huge, very common mistake here. I'm talking one that even native speakers make sometimes, so you're definitely going to want to listen up for this one. Here is the crucial point. You can absolutely say, may I borrow your pen? But you should never, ever say, may you pass the salt. The word may is exclusively for asking for permission for yourself, when the subject is I or we, not for asking someone else to do something. And this quote right here is the golden rule, straight from the source. You can use the most polite words on the planet, but if your tone of voice is sarcastic or demanding, it just won't work. Remember, how you say something is often just as important as what you say. So you've totally mastered the art of asking. Awesome. But what about when you're on the receiving end of a request? Let's take a quick look at the best ways to just say yes, politely. So what are your best bets? Well, for more formal situations, certainly, or of course, are pretty much perfect. If you're with friends, a simple sure works great. And as the source points out, sometimes you don't even have to say anything. A simple nod or just, doing the thing they asked for is a perfect response. But what if you have to say no? That can be a little awkward, right? Well, here is a fantastic tip for that. If you start your sentence with, I'd like to, but, it really softens the rejection. It shows you've got good intentions even if you can't help out. For example, I'd like to pass the salt, but I just can't reach it. See? Simple. So there you have it, the simple but really powerful rules for making requests. It's all about picking the right word for the right moment. So the next time you need to ask for something, which word are you going to choose?